A Midsummer Night's Dream that alludes to madness, enchantment, and witchcraft in the woods on the particular eve of June 23rd. That is also introduced as Romeo and Juliet in comedy. Its characters are protagonist, we can say, is the Duke of Athens, Theseus. That's also a feature of Shakespearean plays that remote settings are preferred. So instead of you can say contemporary Elizabethan society, uh, Greek society, Athens society is taken, and Duke of Athens, Theseus, is protagonist who intends to marry or who is going to marry Hippolyta, the queen of Amazon. After the defeat of Hippolyta in war, Hermia is the female protagonist of this play. She is daughter of Aegeus, and uh, she loves Lysander. Aegeus once introduced Lysander to his daughter Hermia, and showed approval for their future marriage. But later on, he changed his mind when he met Demetrius, and he Demetrius became another suitor to Hermia. Aegeus approved Demetrius and rejected the proposal of Lysander. And with that conflict, the play begins. Hermia's friend Helena, she loves Demetrius and wants to marry him. These are the characters of human world. We can say there are three possible pairs: Theseus, Hippolyta, Hermia, Lysander, Helena, and Demetrius. And there is the world of fairies, where are Oberon, king of fairies, Titania, queen of fairies, and they have Robin Goodfellow, a Puck, who is in service of king of fairies, Oberon. These are the fairies, and there are you can say minor characters of fairies like Peace Blossom, Cobweb, Mustard Seed, and Moth. There are there is a group of amateur actors led by Peter Quince, a carpenter, and they have, you can say, uh, all are amateur actors, and they have, you can say, uh, certain vocations as well. Like Peter Quince is a carpenter, Nick Bottom by profession is a weaver, and he mostly plays the role of, you can say, hero in plays. Francis Flute, a bellows mender. Tom's Snout is a tinker, Snaga joiner. Robin Straveling, a tailor, and these, you can say, six men. They are a crew of amateur actors, and in this play, they are given an assignment to present a skit or present a play on the eve of wedding eve of uh, Duke of Athens. They also make their rehearsal in the woods, and they, particularly the character of Nick Bottom, comes in contact with Queen of Fairies, Titane. The play opens in Duke Theseus' palace. At his palace, Duke Theseus and his fiancée Hippolyta discuss their wedding to be held in 4 days in a celebrating mood. Actually, there was war between Athens and Amazon. And Amazon, as you know in mythology, that's the land ruled by women. Amazon his, historically and through legends that stand for the power of women. Women who are, you can say, rulers, wrestlers, warriors in this world. On the other side, Athens, that's, that represents, you can say, the civilized world ruled by a patriarchal society. Both have wars, and sword of Theseus defeats Hippolyta, but he does not disgrace her after his victory in war. He prefers to honor the defeated queen of Amazon, Hippolyta, with his marriage proposal. So that's the time when Duke Theseus, who has betrothed with Hippolyta, is proposing his marriage. Theseus orders Philostrate. There are some versions of this play where Aegeus is actually given the same job. Philostrate, we can say, a person who is in the court of Duke of Athens, and he has to arrange some entertainment. So, Philostrate is ordered to arrange some entertainment so the couple can pass time till then. They have some time, so they want to have some entertainment. Philostrate takes leave to arrange this entertainment, and Theseus promises Hippolyta that he will marry her with pomp and revels, even though he wooed her by his sword. Wooing by sword, that's the important point that we will discuss after the plot of this. Aegeus, along with his daughter, at that moment, Aegeus, along with his daughter Hermia, and two Athenian youth, Lysander and Demetrius, enters. So you can say two young men, a girl, and girl's father, they appear. Girl's father, Hermia's father, Aegeus, complains that his daughter wants to marry Lysander contrary to his wish as he has chosen Demetrius for her.
Sir, who is Aegeus here?
Hermia's father.
Okay, Hermia is the heroine of the play.
Yes, and Aegeus
Okay,
is
sir.
a sane old man of Athens.
Okay, sir.
So Aegeus demands that law must punish Hermia if she fails to comply with his demands. By the way, that part of this play is thought much important. So I read the lines from the text. These are lines from first scene of this play. Aegeus, I beg the ancient privilege of Athens. Ancient privilege of Athens, as she is mine. As she is mine. Means you can say right of ownership or right of property of man or father. I may dispose of her, which shall be either to this gentleman or to her death. Mean Hermia has two options, either to marry Demetrius or she will be punished to death. Two options are given by Aegeus. According to our law, immediately provided in that case. First, he uses ancient privilege and toward conclusion he say law. Our law immediately provided. And there is a debate of the critics whether there existed any law that gave the right a father to decide the husband of his daughter, or was it a convention? So, more probably, theorists, critics are inclined towards this idea that was a convention, but that convention was treated like law by a resident of Athens. Theseus, who intervenes, and he actually uh, suggests an other, you can say, option. Father suggests two options: marry the man chosen by father, and if daughter is not ready, she should be punished to death. But Theseus, who is duke, he suggests either to die the death or to abjure forever the society of men. Therefore, fair Hermia, question your desires. Know of your youth, examine well your blood, whether if you yield not to your father's choice, you can endure the livery of a nun. Livery of a nun. Livery means uniform. So it means he gives the third option that Hermia will have to live as a nun who does not marry. So first option was, and other two options of Aegeus, they are also intact, either to marry the husband of her choice or to die. For A to be shady cloister mute, to live a barren sister, issueless nun, barren sister all your life, chanting faint hymns to the cold, fruitless moon. These are the much quoted lines of this play. So he gives that, you can say, uh, answer in response to Hermia's request or beseech that Duke should show his grace. And Duke, you can say, offers the third option of being a nun. At that moment, Lysander, Theseus asks Hermia to obey her father and be ready to die or be sent to nunnery. Lysander interrupts and accusing Demetrius being fickle in love. Lysander, you can say, he also pleads his case that Demetrius is fickle in love. And Demetrius insists that Demetrius loved Helena, but no, he wants to marry Hermia after seeing her. So, man who changes, you can say, partner just because of the looks, he is being called fickle by Lysander. The Duke admits that he has heard this story and asks all of them to settle their dispute till the eve of his own wedding with Hippolyta. And eve of his own wedding is this, uh, a midsummer night. All exit except Lysander and Hermia, who discuss the trials faced by the lovers. So you can say Duke has given his verdict, and verdict is they should settle their dispute before the marriage of Duke and future Duchess Hippolyta. So they have to settle themselves कि कौन किससे शादी करेगा. Either it will be Lysander Hermia or Demetrius Hermia, whatever it will be. After this, you can say solution, they will return to Duke and they will relate the story. Lysander and Hermia discuss the trials faced by lovers. That's also common notion. But Lysander says the course of love did never run smooth. That is also the quote of this play. The course of love did never run smooth. मोहब्बत की राह आसान नहीं है. Lysander proposes a plan that they can marry at their aunt's house. His aunt is a childless, loving woman, and she is living 10 leagues away from Athens, and that area is free from Athenian law. That's Lysander's idea that they can move to Lysander's home that is 10 leagues away from Athens. And Athenian law, Athenian custom is not practicable there. Athenian law is father will decide the marriage of daughter, and if daughter refuses, she should be brought to death penalty. Though
Or nunnery.
uh, Theseus actually interprets in this way, not death, but you can say matrimonial death, we can say. That's the absence of pleasure in life, life of none. Later, she shares her plan. Sorry, Hermia is overjoyed and they agree to elope the next night. Elopement is planned, and elopement is for the sake of marriage. Later, she shares her plan with her friend Helena, whom Demetrius jailed. हलीना वही लड़की है जिसको डिमिट्रियस ने जो है वो छोड़ दिया था. एंड हलीना लव्स डिमिट्रियस वेरी मच. Helena remarks to herself that she envies them for their happiness. She plans things. If she shared this secret to Demetrius, he would be bound to follow them through the wood, and she would also go to the woods and might win back her love. वही फोकलोर उनके माइंड में है कि wood transforms the man on midsummer eve. जंगलों में इस मौसम में कुछ ऐसा होता है जो इंसान को बदल के रख देता है. तो हलीना has this idea that if she tells the secret to Demetrius, Demetrius would follow Hermia and Lysander, and she would follow Demetrius, and there is a possibility Demetrius returns to Helena, and she can get back her love. Her second intention is, in this way, Demetrius would give her weightage to her love that she has betrayed her friend and shared the secret of her friend Hermia to her lover Demetrius. Here you can say this scene concludes, and in second scene, that's actually a tailor's home. Here we see a group of common laborers, workers who are amateur actors. They meet at Peter Queen's house. Peter Queens is a carpenter, and all are making a plan of rehearsal of the play to be performed in the preceding of the celebration of Duke's wedding. Queens, not only he is an actor, we can say he is also director of the play. Queens is actor also, manager or director as well. He is the planner. Queens tries to conduct the meeting, but talkative Nick Bottoms interrupts him with advice and direction. We can see that type of uh, uh, conflicts are seen when a performance is planned and senior actor sometimes try to dominate the directors. So Queens is conducting meeting and Bottom is interrupting meeting with his own suggestions. Queens tells they are to perform the play, and title of this play is the most lamentable comedy and most cruel death of Pyramus and Thisbe. These are two mythical characters, Pyramus and Thisbe, and their story. They want to enact or perform in Duke's court on the eve of his wedding. जो फिलोस्ट्रोट को टास्क मिला था, he has actually asked Peter Quince to perform that task. So Peter Quince suggests that they should perform the play that's the story of lovers separated by their parents' feud or quarrel. So separate story of lovers separated by their parents' feud. We can see that's in Romeo and Juliet. We can see that's in this play, A Midsummer Night's Dream. He assigns their parts: Bottom as Pyramus, Flute as Thisbe, Starveling as Thisbe's mother. Snout will perform the play role of Pyramus' father, Quince himself as Thisbe's father, and Snug as Loin. ये सबको उनके किरदार दिए गए हैं. Bottom play the role of hero Pyramus. Flute will perform the role of a heroine Thisbe. Starveling will also play the female role, that's Thisbe's mother. Snout will perform the role of Pyramus' father, Quince Thisbe's father, and Snug he will have to perform the role of a lion animal. Bottom interrupts and tells that he can be wonderful Thisbe and even a wonderful lion father. He has already been given the major role, Pyramus. But he boasts of in this way that he can even perform the role of a girl and also the role of roaring lion. It means Bottom has faith in him that he can make, you can say, different sound like powerful masculine sound of Pyramus, female sound of Thisbe, and animal roar of lion. Quince convinces him to be a handsome Pyramus. Snug is worried how to learn the role of lion because other can obs- observe human being and they can, you can say, perform, and they have also the dialogues. Snug has no dialogue. He has the role of lion. But Quince assures him that it will be easy as he will growl and roar only and will not speak. Snug is worried. Quince consoles him that he can only growl and roar. That will be only imitation. This worries the craftsman that if the noble ladies were frightened by the lion, they would be executed. That's the point कि अगर शेर का करेक्टर है, शेर दौड़ेगा और शेर के दौड़ने पर नाजुक मिजाज शाही खानदान की जो खवातीन है वो क्या करेंगी? अगर किसी डर का इजहार करेंगी या वहां किसी किस्म की का पैनिक फैलेगा, अल्टीमेटली actors will be penalized. You can see that's the fear that often prevails in performance of any play. Whenever a play is performed, there is a fear that in audience there may be sensitive audience who will be offended. They can be offended because of their religious sentiments, national sentiments, genders, or so on. So whatever their sensitivity is, they complain, they try to even impose a ban on a particular performance or play. पूरी history इससे भरी पड़ी है. Bottom says that he can roar so sweetly like a nightingale so as not to frighten anyone. That's a very amusing line because roaring is the you can say line's quality and uh, singing is of nightingale, but Bottom mixes both of them and he says that he can roar so sweetly like a nightingale. So the group disperses and will meet again in the wood next night for rehearsal of the play. Anyway, this group has finalized the plan. Plan is to perform the story of Pyramus and Thisbe, and they will make a rehearsal of this play in night, sorry, in jungle at night. In this way,
Sir,
yes,
sir, this play is going to be held for the marriage ceremony.
yes, for the wedding ceremony of Duke Theseus.
Okay, sir.
In the forest, two fairies, you can say, no, first scene was in the court of Theseus, second scene was at the Queen's house, and now in second act, that scene is shifted to forest. In the forest, two fairies, servant of Titania and servant of Oberon. One is Oberon's servant and other is Titania. Meet by chance in glade. Oberon's servant asked Titania to keep Titania out of Oberon's side because both are angry on the issue of the Indian boy whom Oberon wants to make his knight, and Titania has made him her attendant and is not ready to kill. जैसे घरों के मामले जो हैं वो घरों के मुलाजिम जो हैं वो डिस्कस करते हैं, और अगर आपने प्ले द राइवल्स पढ़ा हो बाय R.W.B. शेरिडन, तो उसमें भी हम देखते हैं कि किस तरह से लीडिया के घर के सर्वेंट और कैप्टन एब्सोल्यूट के सर्वेंट जो हैं वो आपस में डिस्कस करते हैं. तो यहाँ पर भी दो फेरीज हैं, बोथ आर द सर्वेंट फेरीज. वन इज इन सर्विस ऑफ टिटेनिया, अदर इन सर्विस ऑफ हर हस्बैंड ओबेरॉन, and they are discussing about the quarrel between Titania and Oberon on the issue of custody of Indian boy. इंडियन बॉय जो है वो एक करेक्टर इसमें दिखाया गया है जो कि एक स्लेव है, और स्लेव को जो है ओबेरॉन नाइट बनाना चाहता है. सो फॉर दैट पर्पस he thinks that he should be sent out for, you can say, martial training. But Titania,
Sir, Titania and Oberyn both are
husband wife,
new characters, husband and wife.
yes, they are fairies actually. ये
Okay,
परियों के
in
तौर
the
पर
forest.
in the forest.
Okay.
And Titania wants that Titania is so much attached to Indian boy, and she thinks that Indian boy should not be out of her sight. ये उसको इतना पसंद आ गया कि उसे आंखों से ओझल नहीं करना चाहती. She wants to keep him in her court. So that's the conflict between husband and wife. And Titania, this servant and Oberon servant are talking about this quarrel. Titania's servant is delighted to recognize Oberon's servant as Robin Goodfellow or Puck, known for his pranks and jests on the mortals. जो टाइटेनिया की सर्वेंट है वो कहती है कि ओबेरन के सर्वेंट को पहचान लेती है कि ये तो पक है. और जो वर्ल्ड ऑफ फेरीज है, इन वर्ल्ड ऑफ फेरीज Puck is known for his pranks and jest. शरारतों की वजह से मशहूर है, छेड़खानी करता रहता है ये ह्यूमन बीइंग्स के साथ या अदर मॉर्टल क्रीचर्स के साथ. The servants are interrupted by the entry of Oberon along his train and of Titania along a train coming in the opposite direction. First servant appear, now Oberon and Titania also appear, but they are not coming side by side. They are coming in the opposite direction because they are not on speaking terms. Both the royal fairies confront each other for being in Athens just before the wedding of Hippolyta and Theseus. Each claim that he or she is jealous with the marriage of Athens and Hippolyta, and they want to spoil that marriage. Titania first accuses Oberon of being in love with Hippolyta, and he wishes to bless their marriage. Titania उसको ओबेरॉन को कहती है कि वो ओबेरॉन जो है वो इस वजह से यहाँ पर आया है कि हिपोलिटा और एथेंस की शादी होने वाली है, and he is also, Oberon is also in love with Hippolyta. Oberon accuses Titania of being in love with Theseus, and she has come to bless their marriage. Oberon believes that Titania is in love with Theseus, and she has come to bless their marriage. So the conversation turns to the Indian boy, whom Oberon demands, and Titania declines for giving excuse of the boy's mother being her devotee. From this, you can say harsh exchange about their presence on the eve of Duke marriage. They turn to Indian boy's issue. Oberon says Indian boy should be given to him. Titania says that she will not hand over Indian boy to Oberon because Indian boy's mother was her devotee. She wants to show her revels at night, but Oberon does not want to see it because he is angry on not getting the boy. Titania storms away, and Oberon goes to take her revenge before the night is over. Titania is angry, Oberon is angry, and Oberon has a plan to take revenge from his wife. He sends his servant, Robin Goodfellow, Puck, to see the white and purple flower called love in idleness. एक फूल है white and purple flower who is called love in idleness, which juice if pasted on the sleeping eyelid has effect of falling in love with the first thing in view after awakening. As disguise was, you can say, the important device in 12th night. In this play, juice or pasting the juice of white and purple flower on the eyelid of sleeping fellow is important episode. So Oberon asked Puck to go and find this flower. Oberon wants to see Titania fall in love with some ridiculous thing. And his plan is that if Titania is, you can say, making that, showing that type of attitude, she should be punished in this way that a juice is pasted on her eyelids, and when she awakens, the first thing she will see, she will fall in love. क्योंकि ये मैजिकल प्लांट है, तो जिसकी आंखों पे लगाया जाता है इसका जूस, तो सुबह उठते ही उसकी नजर जिस पे सबसे पहले पड़ेगी उसकी मोहब्बत में वो पड़ जाएगा. तो जाहिर है कि ओबेरॉन तो वहां होगा नहीं, वैसे भी ये फॉरेस्ट है, तो वहां कोई एनिमल या कोई भी और क्रीचर होगी, तो टाइटेनिया विल फॉल इन लव विद दैट रिडिकुलस थिंग एंड इट विल अम्यूज ओबेरॉन. ओबेरॉन का जो रिवेंज था वो इतना ही था. बट सडनली As Pluck flies to seek the flower, Demetrius and Helena enter the glade, and Oberon is invisible to them. Overhears Helena's adoration and love for Demetrius and his deafness to her. His curses on Hermia and Lysander and his announcement to prevent their marriage and slay Lysander. जब ओबेरॉन
Sir,
को एक सेकंड जब ओबेरॉन पक को उसकी ड्यूटी समझा रहा था कि उसने क्या करना है कि वो वाइट पर्पल फ्लावर का जूस लेके टाइटेनिया की आईलिड्स पर जो है वो पेस्ट करना है। तो इतने में वहां पर डिमिट्रियस और हलीना आ जाते और डिमिट्रियस is actually advancing and Helena is actually chasing him and she is showing her love for Demetrius. But Demetrius is showing defiance to her love. He is rejecting her and he is also cursing Hermia and Lysander who are not being seen here. पता नहीं किधर चले गए and he is trying to find them. And he declares that he will prevent the marriage of Hermia Lysander and kill Lysander. And Oberon, who actually overhears them, and no, he makes up his mind to help them. जी आप क्या कहने लगी थी?
सर मैं ये कह रही थी कि यहाँ पर लिसेंडर और जो हर्मिया है वो भाग कर आए हैं जंगल में शादी के लिए और जो डिमेट्रियस है वो हर्मिया का पीछा कर रहा है
जी जी बिल्कुल
और
बिल्कुल
हेलेना डिमेट्रियस का पीछा कर रही है।
जी बिल्कुल ऐसे ही है। लेकिन जंगल से सिर्फ उन्होंने गुजरना था, जंगल में
ओके सर।
शादी नहीं करनी, जंगल से गुजरना था and they have to reach to their aunt house where actually Lysander and Hermia want to be married. But in play, they never reach there. Major plot of the play is actually in the wood.
और यहाँ पे व्हाइट एंड पर्पल फ्लावर एक कॉमेडी क्रिएट करेगा।
Yes, definitely. They exit the grove and Oberon appears and they actually Helena and Demetrius exit the grove and Oberon appears and declares that Demetrius will be chasing Helena before the night is over. Puck appears carrying the flower and Oberon recognizes it by its smell as Titania loves to sleep near its smell. Puck has brought white and purple flower. Before he pastes the love potion juice of this flower upon the eyelid of Titania, Oberon asks Puck to paste it on the eyelids of a disdainful youth, Demetrius, whom he will recognize by his Athenian garb. चूंकि ओबेरोन ने हलीना और डिमिट्रियस की बातें सुन ली थी और ओबेरोन ने उस वक्त ही ज़हन बना लिया था कि वो हलीना की मदद करेगा और डिमिट्रियस का जो इवल प्लान है लिसेंडर को कत्ल करने का उससे उसे बाज रखेगा। उसका तरीका उसे यही नजर आया कि डिमिट्रियस की आंखों पर जो है वो ये जूस लगा दिया जाए। हलीना और चूंकि डिमिट्रियस के साथ ही होती है तो जैसे ही डिमिट्रियस सो के उठेगा तो हलीना सबसे पहले हलीना को देखेगा एंड ही विल फॉल इन लव विद हर। लेकिन होता ऐसा नहीं है। क्या होता है? पक एग्रीज एंड गोज टू डू सो। ओबेरॉन गोज एंड सीज टाइटेनिया स्लीपिंग एंड पेस द जूस ऑन हर आईलिड। पक को वो डिमिट्रियस के आंखों पे जूस लगाने के लिए भेजता और खुद टाइटेनिया के लिए चला जाता है और डिमिट्रियस